All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our second meeting of the Real School so far in 2026. Kudos to everybody who is here. Last week we talked about goals and breaking down our goals, and part of that was finding places that we can really set ourselves apart, our competition, and what does that look like. So, a couple people I'm excited to introduce y'all to. First, I'm gonna bring up Lisa Best at Armadillo. Um, Love Lisa. For the record, if you've never had the Publix chicken salad, she got me turned on to it and now has a chokehold on me and it's out there and I'm very excited about it. But Lisa is the queen when it comes to all things home warranties. I say this, I was a ride or die American Home Shield, to be honest, girl, my entire career until I met Lisa and she introduced me to Armadillo, and several reasons. A, Lisa does an amazing job, but two, the Armadillo program and the way it works, as far as what they allow with pay and vendors, which I'm not going to steal your thunder for. But anyway, very excited to have her, and thank you again for bringing lunch. So if you will just take a few minutes and then I'm gonna get back up here and I'm gonna introduce you to our speaker.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me. What a great introduction. Um, just for those of you that don't know me, I am Lisa Betts, and my background is actually real estate. Um, I got my North Carolina license back in '92 and did a lot of general brokerage for many years and did about 7 years of new construction. And so I say that to let you know that I really do understand your business. And part of what I try very hard to do is be a good resource to you and to be responsive to you. I mean, I get texts at 10:30 at night saying, I'm writing an offer. What should I put in here? And I'm going to answer that. So I just want you to know that I do understand the business and I know that the multitude of things that you juggle in a day, and I try to make the home warranty part very easy. And Armadillo really helps me to make it easy because like April, I started with American Home Shield, oh gosh, 2014. So it's my 12th year in home warranty. Back then, they were the only game in town. And they're a great company. They're what we call a traditional home warranty. Armadillo is different because unlike traditional home warranty that want you to use their group of contractors, we allow you to use your own contractors. And it makes that process so much better. I've always been a huge fan of the cost mitigation part of a home warranty because it just gives you liability protection as an agent, but also gives your clients liability protection because they just don't know what's going to happen in that home. But I love the fact that you can get your own. It just gets someone that you can trust in your home. It gets somebody there quickly. I used to have to say that this is not an emergency service because I couldn't guarantee that someone could get out there quickly in emergency. But now I can. You're getting your own. So that process is just so much simpler. So that is big kudos. Quickly to say that April Stevens' team gets an 8% discount on any of the home warranties that you have.
Anybody in a real school too, maybe?
Yeah, anyone in a real school.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Because not everybody in here is on my team.
Yeah, you let me know that you're in a real school and you get the 8% discount. And then we give military a 10% discount, which is, yeah, I'm a huge
That's
fan
great.
of that. Yes. And then also, real quickly, if you have a listing, and some of you have worked with me before on listing, if you have a listing and you want to have a warranty on that house, you can. That warranty on the home is complimentary as long as that seller is offering the home warranty to the buyer at closing. They're not paying for it until closing, and they get $1,500 worth of coverage during that listing period.
I'm going to tell you, I've had to use this before, and this is when you can really go to a hero real quick for your sellers. The HVAC went out on the second floor. My sellers calling, they're panicking. We got showings, we got this. What do we do? And I was like, good news, we have a home warranty. And they're like, yeah, but we haven't paid for it yet. So we're just going to call. Like, no, stop what you're doing. We have it. We put a pre-listing home warranty on it, offering it to the buyer, so you're covered. We talk about this in the listing, but they forget it. But then it comes to, and I called them and I'm like, okay, the warranty company's going to be out there. And it was, I think, $800 charge or something. And they're like, okay, who do we pay? And we're like, you're still good until we close. Let me tell you what a hero they thought I was. And all I did was just hook them up with the right person. So
100%. Yeah.
Right. I'm seeing more and more where buyer's agents are not even asking for the home warranty on the contract, even when it's advertised that the home warranty. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like they don't understand what they're supposed to be
or
doing.
they may not be paying attention, but that's a different rabbit hole.
It is a different rabbit hole. I have definitely seen a spike in it. Probably in the last like 3 or 4 months, I've definitely seen a huge spike in home warranty usage in general. But also, I wanted to say that I'm a stats nerd, And for some reason, this is the highest percentage of sales that new construction has been in the history of real estate, really, in this market. So think about when you do have a listing, the only way for apples to apples comparison is to have a warranty. Because most of the time your buyers love the charm of the older home, they love the yard, all of the construction, the well-built construction of the new home. I mean the older home, but they love the newness of the new home. And so putting a warranty on there just gives you a little bit more advantage of an apples to apples comparison because they're definitely going to look at both.
Thank you so
Yeah, thank you.
for lunch and bringing my favorite. So, okay, two more quick announcements. One, I'm very excited. I'm gonna bring up Tracy O'Dowd she's no stranger to this office or to me, that's for sure. But I'm very excited. We've done some moving and shaking here at the Real School this year, and so I'm excited to officially announce Tracy O'Dowd as our education director. So she's gonna help us. Brother, no worries. Keith is still here. Keith has just moved into just an instructor role. We really want to grow our instruction classes this year. Pre-licensing, post-licensing, CE updates. If you've not taken an update with Keith, he's really fantastic.
Yeah,
like it's by far my favorite. And we really want to encourage people to get back in person for these CEs and these updates. Y'all, before COVID, we were never allowed to do this stuff online, and it's really changed. To Lisa's point, I think one of the biggest reasons agents don't know about home warranties is because they don't talk to each other anymore until they're in the middle of a transaction. Let's be honest, where we always used to put warranties on things before. So excited to see big things for the school and from Tracy. And, you guys help us spread the word. We want to bring in speakers that are relevant to you. We want this to be an advantage. Tracy and I hear nothing on the streets except for we feel like there's nowhere to get training. I feel like I don't know how to do this. I feel and we tell them about the school, they're like, tell me more. I didn't even know about it. So we're working really hard to get the word out. So anyway, very excited. We'll definitely be hearing more from Tracy. So and then without further ado, I'm excited to introduce Katie McKee. She's our speaker today with 12th State Staging and Interiors. I'm very grateful for Katie and people like Katie because staging is not an art of mine. I have staged one listing in my entire career and I hated every moment of it. I actually left the dishes and towels and everything in the house when I sold it as a gift. I was like, I don't want to go get this stuff. I loathe that entire process so much. So I'm very grateful for people like Katie who have that eye, have that patience. For me, I can say it's just not one of my strengths. So when my clients ask me about staging, I'm like, absolutely. If I stage, I'm gonna tell you take everything out. I'm just neutral to a fault. So let me introduce you to a stager who's going to come in and actually make it warm and beautiful and inviting. And to the point that Lisa just made, there are tons of new construction that we are competing with, more than I've ever seen in my career, us have to compete with resellers. And we have already seen, we've been, and this is probably good information for you to know, we've been in a stalemate with sellers for the last 2 years. Nobody wanted to get off their 2 and 3% interest rate to sell, knowing that what they were going to buy was in a 6 or a 7. Well, the rates dropped down in the 5s last week. And I'm telling you, our phones have been ringing off the hook since the beginning of the year. Just, hey, I want to talk to you about selling. Hey, I'm ready. They have seen their neighbors kind of test the market, for lack of a better word, and some have won and some have failed. And I think now they're ready to get serious, but we need to be serious about positioning these sellers correctly. And staging is a huge part of that. Y'all met Sharon Evans, who's one of my mentors. She stages every home she lists, and she has a 0 fail rate. She is not, she sells hundreds of homes a year. She has a 0 fail rate where her listings actually don't sell. If the sellers stage it and do what she tells them to, she sells every listing, which that's one of my goals. But anyway, without further ado, Miss Kay, take it away.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. I'm going to try and make this, enjoyable for you. So it's not just me talking at you the whole time, boring. Please feel free to ask questions, interact, all that kind of stuff. But so again, I'm Katie. I'm the founder, owner of 12th State Design Company. So we have been around for about 5 years. 3 of those years, we have been doing vacant staging. That's kind of our bread and butter. And I can get more into exactly what that means when I say vacant staging. But so we operate out of Durham, but we really service the entire triangle, which is why I'm here in Gardner with you guys today. We are looking kind of to do more business out this way. It is booming in a sense, like compared to in very different ways compared to where we're at. And so we're just, excited to continue to partner out this direction more. But so we just to give you a quick snapshot of where we're at as a business. So we do about 20 stagings a month in terms of how many homes we're staging. We own all of our own inventory. So we have a warehouse of about 10,000 square feet in RTP, and it is full of furniture, decor, rugs, artwork, all of that stuff. So we own it all. I curate it all personally and purchase it all personally. So that's kind of one way that we're really set apart is, we have a very curated look that is consistent across our brand. And ideally, you wouldn't really get to find that anywhere else. So, all right. Well, so I'm going to kind of just give you a little overview of like, what is home staging? What am I talking about with that? What are the different kinds of staging? How to prep your listing? So I want this to be very practical for you guys. I'm going to give you some of my top tips for, what is really a game-changing thing that you can do at every property that, we see as stagers. And then just a few tips with that, explaining the value of vacant staging, some before and after examples, because those are always really fun to see. And then just what we offer as a business ourselves. So, all right, what is staging? Staging is a home staging, service that styles and or furnishes a home for sale to enhance its best features and attractiveness to a potential buyer. So ideally, we're coming in, we're making the property feel homey, filling up the space with curated items that are going to elevate it. All right, so different kinds of staging. There's basically two main ones. There's a lot of nuances within these, but these are kind of the main categories. So occupied home staging and vacant home staging. So we'll talk a little bit about occupied first, and then this is where I'm going to give you guys some tips, favorite paint colors, things like that. So the goal for this is going to be to help the seller declutter, depersonalize, and make necessary updates that's going to help the home present at its best. I'm sure you guys do a lot of this with the homeowner still living in the property. So it really takes it from being specifically functional for their lifestyle, and it makes it attractive to the average person coming in, to the most amount of people. So you're really depersonalizing is kind of the main goal there. So for vacant home staging, the goal is really to fill the home with beautiful furniture, decor, anything that will help the buyer envision themselves having a life there. So you're casting a vision. You're helping them really see like, oh, this is the life that I want in this house. And you're doing that very strategically with, elevated furniture, things that are very curated and look great in the home. You're going to highlight the best features of it. And I can get more into that in a little bit. And then you're also making the photographs look better. That's a big one. So, all right. So to talk about the occupied staging portion, we know that it's hard to get in there, make suggestions and recommendations for your sellers that are actually going to be significant. And also, you guys, most of you are probably not designers yourself. And so you're not coming in with that knowledge of, how do I recommend a paint color? Like, what are the strategic things that I should be telling you to do to make the space feel better? And so, that's where we can come in as a partner and really help. So some things that we usually recommend to focus on. The first one is just removing. So that's kind of almost always like the main focus that you need to have. Most people probably have too much stuff in their space. So anything that is really just not necessary in a room, for example, is what we would say, hey, go ahead and remove that. So you're assessing what's the extra furniture pieces in here? Where is there extra decor? Is there too much on the walls? So you're paring down, you're taking things away, removing things from the space. An example of that is like small rugs, like lots of people have, rugs by the doors and the kitchens and the bathrooms, things like that. You're kind of taking away layers so that in the photographs and when people are walking through the home, it just feels less cluttered visually. And then of course, anything that's personal, which you guys know this probably, but we like to say really anything that has names, religious or political affiliations, photos of people that are specific to them, family photos, all of that really needs to be taken away. The goal, again, is to just provide a neutral palette. We want someone to come in and envision themselves. And often if they're seeing pictures of other people in that home, then it's going to take away from their ability to be able to do that. All right, focal point. So this is something I just touched on a little bit, but so basically for every home, there's going to be spaces in it that you really want to highlight. So an example of a focal point is going to be fireplace, a group of windows, areas of symmetry. So the reason that you do this is you're really drawing the attention in each room to something that can be photographed well, and that also is just going to be a selling point. So fireplaces, built-ins, things like that. These are going to help the photos look really, really good, and this is going to make a space feel better. And it creates balance. So without getting too far into explaining that and boring you, creating balance in a space really can make it feel better. Like when you walk into a room, there's a clear focal point with where the furniture is oriented, how things are balanced. It just feels better for people. All right. And then less is more. This is definitely an approach that we take. So we really kind of follow the rule of thumb that only one or two walls need artwork or something on it. If you look at a photo that somebody has not really staged the home and there's something on almost every wall, like they've kind of covered all the spaces, it tends to be very visually distracting. I think oftentimes too, you don't really know where to look in the photo. So it can just be really kind of convoluted. So we always suggest just pick one or two walls, primarily one that would be, again, more of a focal point, and let that be where you have art hanging, something simple and neutral. And then in terms of decor, we like to say, get rid of about 90% of it, like probably more than you would think. We say, clear off surfaces. Plants are great to leave out here and there, but decorative objects, things like that, really less is going to be more. We take that approach with our vacant staging as well. We really feel like placing very strategic things on bookshelves in the kitchen, leaving blank spaces, it just allows for the house to shine and the focus not to be so much on the stuff that's in it. And then, okay, other tips. This one is one of my personal like pet peeves is when all the light bulbs in the house don't match. I don't know what it is about that, but it kind of drives me nuts. I think definitely making sure that each room, all the bathrooms have the same color light fixture is just going to make it feel better. Again, you're creating a feeling. And I would 99% of the time say go with a warm white and not a cool. So stay away from anything that says daylight or cool to it. You want to go with warmer tones. Again, creates a sense of coziness. Okay, best places for storage are going to always be the garage or the attic. I would say prioritize those first if you're looking to declutter and move stuff. You can use closets, that's totally fine. But the primary bedroom, that closet needs to look this. So if you have to store stuff in closets, I would always recommend use secondary ones, garage, attic, that kind of thing. Make sure all the walkways are nice and clear, especially in the main areas of the home. Again, this is kind of something that might be addressed when you're removing things, but you really want to create the most amount of space possible. You don't want things blocking walkways. It just can make it feel like, oh, the house doesn't function very well. So you want to create the feeling of like, there's good access to the main areas and there's great functionality. And then bathrooms, we just say, don't leave anything in there. This is kind of a specific one, but clear it out. Don't have anything in the bathroom. Nothing hanging, just a shower curtain, and that's it. We don't want to see your personal, showering items, honestly. So, all right. So top 3 tips. So these are going to be the things that we really harp on the most with sellers that if we're in a consultation, for example, these are the 3 things that we would really emphasize to help them prepare the home, but also just get on board with because they can be hard sells. So painting. So paint is our number one way to freshen up a house. 9 times out of 10, this is going to really be the best way to make the home just feel more new. As April was saying, you're competing with new construction. And, those are literally turnkey, ready to go, brand new. So to compete with that, I mean, paint is just sort of a no-brainer. But I know that a lot of people are a little bit resistant to do that because there's a cost attached to it. One thing that I like to say is, because there's a cost attached to it, if you're addressing it as a seller, then that's dollar signs that the potential buyer is not seeing. They're not having to address that because they can just walk in and say, okay, the house actually is good to go. Like I don't have to pay when I come in here. So these are some of our most used whites and neutral colors. You've probably heard of a lot of them, but it's for a good reason. They're all really consistent. So I was going to talk a little bit about like undertones and choosing the right color. If anybody has questions about that, some people like to know more and some people don't. But really the one that's going to be, so right now this one's really popular. So it's coffee. It's got a warmth to it. And then snowbound. So these two are kind of the biggest one. Yeah.
If I'm late to this party and everybody else is already on this page, I'm really sorry, but do you see the gray going away and brown tones coming back in? Thank the Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone was questioning that, gray is no longer a thing.
Still seeing it
You're probably still seeing it.
because I think people are a little slow to realize that that it's over. But
Yeah.
I want to lead the charge into like bringing back the brown.
Yeah.
Now taupe,
It's neutral. So I think the flooring is a really great example of where we're headed. It still has a little bit of gray to it, but there's a warmer feel overall. So something like this would be a much better option to just like a gray floor. That makes me really sad now when I see gray.
So it's terrible.
Yeah, I think
It's very cold to me. And
It
it's
is.
not, that's it.
Yeah.
Because the word. Yeah.
yeah, that's just been a huge shift in general in the design world. So like I don't know if you're familiar with High Point Market, but every year they have, you go and you see all the trends. We go yearly, and really for the last like I don't know, I would even say like 5 years plus, it's all like moved like towards warmer tones, deeper tones.
I see more green,
Green is
like gray homes and stuff.
yeah, lots of green. Green, they kind of say like green is the new blue. Blue is big for a while. Green is kind of the new accent color. But yeah, warmer tones.
There's some
Whenever you
places,
can
too,
do it.
that are just so cold. You walk in a house and it's everything is gray and
Yeah. 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 That's been kind of interesting just with us as like stagers because a lot of our things that we purchase are like warmer wood tones, kind of tans, beige, things like that. But we go into a house that's like completely gray. So that's always a good challenge for us when we have to kind of combine the two. There's ways to do it. You can combine neutrals, but so yeah.
Question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
We're still thinking like continuity with these new colors and tones. In other words, like throughout the home and not paint a bedroom this color and a bathroom that color.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I think when it comes to prepping the house, like just the more streamlined and consistent you can make it, the better. I think again, competing with these houses that are all, newly built, fresh, they're going to be kind of in that same vein. You can have a little bit of color. I'm not against it, but you just don't know what the new home buyer's preference is going to be. So that's why I like to
Because
say
usually
just
kids have different colored rooms.
right, pink and blue.
Don't have pink and
Yeah.
have blue. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had one yesterday. It was purple.
Yep.
And they kept the little chandelier that had like rainbow colors. I'm like, just take that.
Yeah.
Like light bulb. Like
right.
it's a little bit weird.
Something different. Yeah. So that's going to be definitely number one way that I think you can help just create visual balance, make it feel fresh. It's in my opinion worth the investment every time. So to your point about the fixtures, so that's kind of our second thing. So that's going to be a big way that you can not only make the house feel just more updated and unique, but it also kind of competes with, again, that new construction. Like they're just going to have the most basic, cheapest option in there. most of the time. But now there's so many good options that are very affordable on Amazon, Wayfair, Lowe's, Home Depot. I mean, I'm talking like under $50, even cheaper than that sometimes. And they can, they're very on trend, things like that. And we just feel like you could probably spend, I would say, under $600 and replace a good amount of the fixtures in the home, and it makes it memorable, stand out, and just feel a little bit more curated. So that's definitely a really good way to differentiate your home. It's worth putting in a little bit of money just to do an update like that. That's going to make it feel a lot more fresh. A lot of questions I get around that are, well, what finish should I use, or how do I do that? So we usually say stick with 2 finishes. Oftentimes we recommend black and like a nickel. Those 2 pair really well together. And then a brass and a chrome. So like a shiny finish with either a matte finish on a brass, something like that. You can, of course, have different combinations, but those are kind of general rule of thumb. Stick with 2 so that everything is not different throughout the house. And then, yeah, again, Home Depot has a collection called Home Decorators. And one of my tips for, selecting these things is just kind of find a lot of times on these vendors, they'll have like what they would say is home decorators collection. And so everything's very cohesive. They have every style of light. You can get them in different finishes, but it has kind of like an entire suite of options that are going to go together. So that makes it easy for you. All right. And then the third one, curb appeal. I'm sure that you guys obviously are thinking about this, but even before these home buyers are stepping into the home, they're looking at it and they're making an assessment. So biggest things we suggest are power washing, window cleaning. This is one I think that gets looked over often, but it can make a huge difference not only for the exterior, but when you're in the home, it lets so much more light in. Yeah, mowing the lawn, mulch, greenery, all of that needs to be touched up. If it's the season for it, then fresh flowers are great. A brand new doormat, so one that's going to be fresh and not old or walked on or tattered. And then again, lighting, making sure that all the lights on the exterior of the house are the same color. That's important. And I would still go with a warm white. And then this is kind of niche, but the house numbers, if those are visible, that's just like a good feeling to be able to pull up to the house and know exactly where you are, house number, address, all of that. So
it blows my mind how many houses you see where the house numbers will be on the mailbox, one of the numbers will be missing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get it. Or like the 5 will be dangling.
Yeah. And it's just not a great look, like,
I mean, if nothing else, make sure your daggone house numbers are right.
Yeah. Let's at least be able to find that.
Right. The other day there was a tall tree near the front of the house number. I'm like,
You don't
I
have
gotta walk up to the porch to see it.
Yeah. I don't know, it makes a difference. I think psychologically too, it just does something to be able to know I'm in the right place. That's good. All right. So vacant staging. So all of that was kind of how we prioritize helping your sellers with their home that they're going to be living in. And I have a lot to say about that, but we can get to that another time. So here's just kind of some visuals of vacant staging. So I chose this one strategically because it was like really rough. Had purple carpet. So we came in and offered some advice in terms of how to update it, what they needed to do before we staged it. So of course I had them get rid of the purple carpet. They did some painting, and then you can't see it in this photo, but we had them do some updating for some light fixtures. But so obviously here you can see just how you're able to really be in the space, lay it out, how much furniture can be in it. It just creates a personality for the room. All right. So this is new construction. So I think oftentimes people, especially with these open concept homes, have such a hard time imagining how to lay them out. What are the options? How can this function? Again, just bringing in things that help give it a better sense of the space and scale and all of that. And, obviously too, just the before and after of like, this just feels like it's got some life to it versus walking into an empty home and with gray floors that is just kind of sad. So, all right. And then again, this is another one. This is just an older home, which I feel like is what we do a lot. We just, we stage these average houses that were built 80s and 90s. They've got red floors and combinations of colors on the walls. So we advise them to update some of the lighting, not shown in this picture, but we had them paint the walls and then we just brought in layers that really gave it a good feel. All right. So why should you stage a vacant home? This is kind of a question that we talk about a lot with people is understanding just the value in it. And so typical ROI that your clients are getting for what they're paying for staging and then seeing on the return in the house is between 3 to 7%. On average, for our company, they're going to be paying about $2,800 for a vacant package. That's going to be for all the main spaces in the home, which we would consider the most used. So primary bedroom, kitchen, dining, living. So it adds to the perceived value of the home. So when you're bringing in furniture that is current, updated, fresh, looks good, it's not damaged, not covered in dog hair, not disheveled looking, things like that. It really just adds the perceived value of the home. Someone's seeing those things and they're feeling like, oh, this feels really good. This feels new. Yep, on average, staged homes spend less time on the market. I think that's just there's a lot of reasons for that, but they're getting more views on online, they're making better first impressions, and then just the comparison from a staged home to a non-staged home is kind of night and day, you can tell. Yeah, already kind of made that point. It gives you the best first impression when somebody walks in and they see a home that's staged. It's just obviously very intentional. It helps with the photos. So I've talked about this a little bit. Your photographer ideally is experienced enough to take photos of the best angles of the house. We think about that when we're staging. So we're laying out the furniture in a way that not only is going to highlight the best features, but it's going to photograph really well. So I often get asked, well, are you going to have a couch that would face where the TV is? If the photo is going to be showing just the back of the couch, it's going to cut the room off, then no, I'm not going to put a couch there. The reason is because in the photos, you want it to feel really open, inviting, spacious. So that's kind of one of those like staging tricks that we do where it really helps the photographer make the most of the best angles. And then again, I've talked about this a few times, you're just casting a vision. You're really painting a picture of the life that these potential buyers could have in the home. And you're doing that by elevating the value of the home, creating a space that feels like, ooh, I want that. That looks good. I could live there. All right. So these are some ways that you can kind of assess, should my buyer be somebody who should stage? I feel like everybody, if the house is vacant, should stage. But if you're questioning it, or if the homeowner has the option to move out, then here's some ways that, you can discuss that. So if it's at a high price point, so I would say anything that's like probably 900 or above really should reflect that price point. And oftentimes the way that people live and function in their homes just is not going to be the best way that it's staged. Every now and then you're going to get really lucky and have a client who just has a beautiful house. They've decorated it beautifully, and you're really lucky if that's the case. So also if the client just needs to do a ton of work to update it, that can be really challenging to be living in the space and have them do those updates. So, replacing flooring, repairing things, major updates, that's just going to be really honestly kind of tough on them to be living through that. So if they have that option, that's, a time where I would suggest it. If the furnishings make the house feel less attractive, then I would definitely say heavily consider this. This can be an awkward conversation for you to have with your people. So that's kind of where we would come in and assist you. So stagers, and I'll speak for all stagers, ideally, we want to add value to what you guys do. And so to take off your plate something that can feel awkward between you and your client really is a big way that we want to serve you. So having that conversation and taking that pressure off of you and your relationship with them can really go a long way. So I kind of view it as good cop, bad cop. I can kind of come in and be a nice bad cop and say, hey, listen, this is not going to be the best way to present your house. And you don't have to be the one to say that. You can just kind of come in and say, hey, this is what the stager said, you know? And then again, children, pets, anything that can make it really difficult to be scrambling to put stuff away, have lots of, toys, clutter, things like that, keeping the house tidy. Again, it's just really challenging to continue to have to get it updated every time. So another question we get a lot is, what are the best ways that we can kind of pitch paying for staging to our clients? It's expensive. I'm aware of that. The industry is aware of that. And so we want to be able to support you in that process. And there's a lot of ways that you can help your buyers be a part of paying for that or all of it. So we always suggest first, encourage them to pay for it in full. You're helping them understand the value in it, but you're also having them kind of have some buy-in with it too, where we're saying, hey, I believe in this process. I believe in this type of product. I think that it's going to help your house stand out. Believe in the value of it. I think it's something that you could pay for and is worth investing in. If they're resistant, then you can always pay a portion of it. So that's something that often we will have. There's a couple of different ways. It's like you can do a split. You can have them maybe pay the first deposit. Maybe they pay for all of it and then you give them a refund after closing. Maybe you say, hey, I believe in staging enough to where I'm going to pay for $1,000 towards staging and then anything else you can cover. So there's lots of different options in terms of you helping communicate the value of it to your client, whatever that number might be for you and for them. But we can help kind of navigate that if your clients are pushing back. Okay, and then just our services. So for 12th state, we specifically, as I mentioned, focus on vacant staging. So that's, again, our bread and butter. So this price is supposed to say 28, but 26. So for you guys, it can be 26 because I didn't fix it. So say what?
Taking a picture.
Yeah, that's fine. Say, hey, remember you didn't update your slide. So $200 off for y'all. Our essential package, so it starts at 26 for you guys. And so this is going to be for houses like around 2,000 square feet. Again, it's going to be for what I mentioned. We're going to focus on the kitchen, the primary bedroom, dining room, living room, and then if there's foyer, we would do some stuff in the foyer. And all the bathrooms. And so that's going to be top to bottom, rugs, furniture, artwork, accessories, all of that. And this is for a 50-day term. So that would be for 50-day package, all in pricing. That's what you would get for that first term. We have renewals that you can do after that if it's needed. I'm hoping that as this year heats up a little bit, we're not going to need as long, but hopefully 50 days will be enough. All right. And then pre-listing consult. So this is kind of what I was getting at before, where it's like, hey, let us take the pressure off of your relationship with your client and come in and offer a consultation. So this is where we can, do a top to bottom list of recommendations. So, you need to declutter, move stuff out, reposition the furniture, repaint, update, anything that you feel like we need to cover, we're happy to do it. Oftentimes we'll kind of have like a conversation with you on the front end and say, hey, what do you feel like are the biggest pain points? And do you need us to focus on that? But really just takes pressure off of you. We can come in, do that, we would give the client essentially what would be homework. So they would kind of come away with a list of notes room by room of what to do. and how to get that house updated and ready. And then, so 200 per consult, again, includes follow-up notes, and that's for about an hour. So, that's something that we try to be really flexible with your schedules. Obviously, you guys are really busy. So we can do that with you present. We can do it with the homeowners not there. We can do it with everybody there. So it's really just whatever your preference is. Yeah.
The client goes ahead with a full service. Does the cost of the consult get rolled in with the full service, or is it
Yeah.
separately?
Yeah. So if you started with a consultation and then ultimately they decided to stage it, then that would be taken out of the total cost. Yeah. Yeah. Good question. And then paint color consults. So we, again, just offer this because we know that that's not something that everybody is an expert in. And we actually have taken classes and are designers. And so we know and understand color and could come in and really help offer suggestions for how do we create some harmony in here with paint if somebody's having the issue. So happy to do that as well. So here's contact information. We're really active on Instagram. That's kind of where I point people to in terms of just seeing our recent work. They'll get to know our team really well. So we have, including me, 3 stagers. We've got an in-house moving team. So we have 2 trucks, and our guys are the best. They're going to take really, really good care of not only our stuff, but the clients' homes. And we actually did that last year. We brought the moving team in-house because we just were having too many issues with contracted movers creating, sometimes they would make a hole in the wall or whatever. And then, we would eventually have to find that out and be like, oh, okay, so we'll take care of it. But so we found that bringing our movers in-house and having our team really makes the process go so much smoother. And then we're also family owned. So my husband works with me and my brother works with me as well. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the lay of the land with 12 state. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. Yeah.
What are the sizes of your truck?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we have a 16 and a 20 footer. Is that right? Maybe a 22. Can't remember the exact measurement. One of them is very large. And then the other one's kind of like a typical box truck, like yeah, exactly. Like a budget truck, something like that. So yeah, we normally are doing like more than one job a day. So we end up using the big one, but yeah.
Yeah, but this is not a private moving company, right? It's only to move to stage your things, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Every now and then, we'll get asked if we can help move some of the owner's belongings. We're not against that. We just like a heads up if that needs to happen, but we can help with that. Obviously there's a charge, but yeah.
If I missed it, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
if you're suggesting that, people's furniture is outdated and you're suggesting that they get it staged, like what happens to the old furniture while y'all put the new furniture in, if they're going to keep it?
Yeah, I mean, we would probably recommend either if there's room for it, storing it in the home, either in the garage or just getting a storage unit.
If they get a storage unit, do y'all help move it to the storage unit, or is it completely up to them?
No, we would suggest a company probably, and we would just say, hey, this is a trusted vendor. We do have a couple movers that we stand behind their quality of work. So we would just have them do it. Yeah, or recommend that. Yeah. Do you guys, any of you in here, people that like to stage their properties on a normal basis, or is this kind of a newer thing?
I think on our team, some of the properties, like, they choose.
Yeah.
Definitely some of the more high-end properties are staged.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, they do better. But even there's some of those conversations get had even at the middle or the lower price points as well. Just what we can do with agents to service those. And I know a couple of my teammates have used the word pre-packing to encourage their clients. Hey, we're excited about your move. You're going to be moving, so we might as well start packing.
Yeah.
Put all this stuff in boxes. When folks are touring the home and there's boxes in the garage, you see that this is the person that wants to sell their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easier for them to see because I think buyers don't have vision.
No, they really don't. And they're seeing so many houses too, that, being able to, it's those little things that kind of communicate to them that, that's going to be the house they want. So yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Happy to answer any questions. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.